Welcome to Thriving Teens Academy. In this segment, we're going to deal with purpose. In Thriving Teens Academy, we build resilience, we build purpose, skills for an excellent, abundant life. Who am I? The power of anchoring your identity. Now, there are some funny songs going out there in the street. Where any useless? Well, we used to hear such songs. But if somebody removed you from school, from your family name, from your friends, removed your phone, your grades, who would you be? Oh man. Most teens today feel like they are puzzles scattered, their identity is scattered all over TikTok trends, and they are defined by friends' opinions, expectations, and some insecurities here and there. Now, the teens of today face an identity storm. They feel, I am not enough. I am not attractive enough. They wonder, am I smart enough? What gender expressions are allowed? Who am I supposed to become? And then social media adds to that pressure. Look at this, act like this, look like this, identify as this, become a dog, become and follow this trend. Meanwhile, inside, many teenagers are whispering, I'm not sure who I am. I'm not sure who I am. Let me tell you about Brian. This is a name of just a collection, not really his name, of many cases I have met. A representative. Brian was a bright Form 3 student. Online, he was funny, bold, and cool. But offline, he felt lost. He could just copy jokes from influencers. He copied fashion trends. He copied the attitudes of the people he admired. But none of it felt like him. And one evening, he told a friend, man, I feel fake, Brian admitted. If you remove the internet, I don't know who really I am. You see, friends, when identity is not anchored, confidence collapses. Imposter syndrome increases. Peer pressure becomes stronger. Confusion about gender and sexuality identity can intensify. You start thinking, am I a man? Am I a woman? And then anybody who shows up wanting to explain to you, you follow them. You end up performing instead of living. You live from approval instead of living from the truth. But you see, in that kind of life, you can't walk boldly into your future if you don't know who is walking. You must know you. You must know who you are, something like that. So God gives us 3 simple identity blueprints. Number 1, root. I want you to think of a plant. I got a plant here. It's a fake one, but I think I'm going to use it. Root. When you put a seed on the ground, the first thing that does first is root. So your identity starts with God's image. That's where you root in God, created male and female, loved, designed, intentional. That's your root. So you root in who God says you are. What about the next R? Reveal, or the shoot. You now discover your gifts. You start growing your own branches, strength, your personality. God placed talents inside you for a purpose. So you've rooted, now you shoot. You notice that you can enjoy this, you can be drawn to this, and none of that is random. It's because the tree is forming. Why? So that the final flowers can come. It's called the fruit. That's nice. So you rise, you live out your design, you bring out that which is inside you. So identity leads to activity, to reality. Once you know who you are, in fact, let's put it this way. In fact, let me explain it with my 4 pens here. I want you to remember these 4 words. Number 1, when we want to deal with identity, there are people who don't know that identity comes from ideas. That's why the word looks like ideas. So what ideas do you hold about yourself? If you are created, then your identity is you are in the image of God. Don't you see that? Ideas create identity. But if you think you came from monkeys, then you'll be twisted and you'll think you're worthless. A good story of a child. Okay, before I tell you the story. So ideas bring identity. And then identity is what governs activity. If you are created in the image of God, you won't defile your body temple by putting in smoke and all that. So ideas bring identity, conduct or govern activity, and activity create your reality. That's a good one. Let me tell you the joke as I finish this chapter, but if you're a parent, before you hear the joke, on identity. I want you to go to the parent section. You need to know how to have conversations with your teens, how to start conversations on identity. Tell me one thing you've discovered about yourself this week. You need to know how to, in the identity journey, how your calm, loving presence matters. There's a whole guidance we've given there on how to reinforce healthy identity, how to speak life regularly on your children, and why teens behave the way they are. Your calm presence provides a grounding. Some of you don't know that. So signs of a shaky identity, how do you get them? All in the parent section. And if you're a teenager, just before I tell you the last part, it's a joke. I promise you will laugh. Well, if you don't laugh, maybe the next chapter will make you laugh. But look here. In the workbook section, it helps you to work through and find your identity, your blueprint, who God says you are. It's all there. You're also going to find the ideas, identity, activity, and reality matrix, where it's going to pick some of the things you experience. Like if your idea of yourself is, I am not good enough, that will be your idea, your identity. You'll think you are small. In class, they ask questions you won't answer because that's your identity. Then what happens? When challenges come, you avoid. 17 hours. And then the reality it creates, small growth, maybe poor performance. But of course, you can decide a different identity and say, God made me. That's a good idea. He made me capable. So what identity? You see yourself as gifted. What activity? You try new things. What reality? Growth, confidence, and abundant life. That's why at Thriving Teens Academy, that's how we grow confidence in good identity. So there's also something called social identity detox, where it allows you to tell who you are without your school, without your phone, without your friend's opinion. It's a good one. I want you to go and do it out there. And then a talent, that's the one I enjoy most. The things that you have done well, things you enjoy, have a look at that part. And then you know how you learn. This is also important because some people, they learn quietly. They are called some people learn in noise. I don't know how people learn also. People learn differently. Some people learn by talking. They are social learners and things like that. Others learn by doing. They're called kinesthetic. They must touch. Others are solitary learners. They must be quiet. So if you know who you are, then that will even help you in how you get into the world, how you learn, and that will improve your grades. And then there's the spiritual gift section. You can't miss that. And then vision statement. That's an important one. So go back and do those sections and let's build good identities. Well, friends, just before I go, I want you to know identity is important. Your next step today is open the workbook, map those exercises, discover your gift, take the confidence, reframe challenge, and state your vision. You were created on purpose for a purpose. Let's begin discovering it, and I'll see you in the next section.